if you can accept that there is a vibrational reality, that there is a vibrational reality that includes love and clarity and peace, but it also includes the contrast that keeps all of that going. If you can accept that this vibrational reality exists, and then you can get off the big subjects, get off of your soapboxes, stop trying to make everything bigger than it really is, and just find a reason right now while you're standing in line with these people to feel satisfaction about something. Or right now in this moment when you're talking with your children or with your mother or with your brother or with your employer or with your employee, to find something that you feel satisfaction about, till little by little you tune yourself to the frequency of everything that you want that's in your vortex. Now, it doesn't take very many of you before you tip the balance of that, but we don't want to talk to you about what you need to do in order to change the world, and then the changed world will make you feel better. That's the same conditional life that you've been living that isn't working out well for you at all. What we want you to do is find satisfaction so that you can live the satisfaction that you deserve. And as you do that, and you do it consistently, then others begin to rise to your vibration. And of course there is the potential to more people feeling more love, but that can't matter to you. You can't let your happiness and your connection be contingent upon what one person is doing on the planet. It's all an inside job. It's all about what you're doing. So now here's another thing. We're going to stay with you for a little while on this conversation until we can feel that you're grasping it, because this process, you've heard the words before, daydream. Do you remember when you were kids, before you were responsible, before you felt responsible, before you were resistant, before you were defensive? Some of you can remember those moments in time. Some of them you've been living recently, but it's a little snatch of time where somehow you're not resistant in thought, and your mind is just receiving the ingredients of your vortex. They're putting themselves together with the tutelage or tutorialage, with the help of your inner being, who knows where you stand in relationship to everything that you want, and knows what the ingredients that you've put into your vortex is, so knows what the path of least resistance is for you to receive a thought. So do you think that you're here to create your own reality? You are. But do you think that the reason that you're here to create your own reality is that when you create your own reality you will like it better? Well, that's one reason. But it isn't the reality that you are creating that you are here about. It's the thrill of reality creating that you're here about. It's the thrill of lining up with your true power and watching what you desire flow to you through the power of your own focus. It's the journey. Now, you've heard that your whole life. The joy is in the journey. Almost everybody is saying it, and nobody knows even what they mean when they're talking about the joy is in the journey. But we want you to know that what we mean by the joy is in the journey is that you did a lot of the journey when you knew what you didn't want, and therefore knew what you did want. And you say, well, that was not all that joyful. And we say, well, it was to your inner being, because you were identifying who you are. When someone was rude, you said, I like nicer. When somebody was hateful, you want more love. When somebody is diminished in some way, you want upliftment. When someone is sick, you want well. When someone's confused, you want clarity. When it's you, even more. You've been isolating and identifying, and there is this extraordinary grouping of ingredients that are the making of an ecstatic life experience for you. But you got to find a way to be in the vibrational vicinity of it. Now, we've been telling you this story in lots of different ways. We've been saying to you, step one is you ask. That's the contrast part of it. Know what I don't want. Ask for what I do want, whether you put it in words or not. Step two is, that's the source energy part of it. That's your inner being part of it. That's the vortex part of it. That's the gathering of the cooperative components part of it. Step two, when you ask, it is given. It's in vibrational form, and you say, I don't want it to be in vibrational form. I want it to be out where I can see it. I'd like to park it in my garage. I'd like to take it to my bed. I would like to go to the movies with it. I don't want this vibrational reality creation. And we say, but it is that way in the beginning. And so if you will accept that the ingredients are there and that you will be guided, you will be led, you'll be called. You are being guided, you are being led, you are being called to your path of least resistance. But what we're saying to you here today is you've got some whopping resistance going on, because you have played the objective game so much that you hardly ever put yourself in a position where you can receive an impulse that's on the path of least resistance and feel the empowerment of your inner being about it. Your inner being who knows where the wonder is, and most important, here's the piece we want you to hear, knows how much magic and wonder. It's not magic, but that's a good word. You like the word. It feels sweet to you. So your inner being knows where the most magic is that you can let in. Your inner being is completely aware of the capacity that you have in every moment in time for the magic. So imagine if you're practicing being satisfied, less and less resistance that you're introducing to the equation. So more and more momentum in that feeling of satisfaction. Can you imagine what you are queued up for your inner being to point out to you? Now, don't misunderstand us. We need to be very clear about this. Your inner being is not holding back on the magic. Your capacity to acknowledge it is what the holdup is. We are not saying, well, we could point him over there, but he's not really ready for that trip. Everything that you're asking for, a path is being highlighted for you. But sometimes you're just sort of dense. You just don't have the ability to sharply focus and see some of those special trails that have so much potential for satisfaction. It's like you just want to stay on the main thoroughfare and go as fast as you can when there's so much in all those other places that can thrill and delight you and satisfy you even more. We want you to feel this emotional place that you are standing. If you wake up and you get focused upon something and you feel grouchy and ornery, you're on this ornery disc, so to speak. And when you're there, you've just got to notice that anybody in your vicinity who's ornery seems to hop on there with you. We hear you sometimes saying to others, you know, you're really ornery, you need to get away from me. And we say, you invited them in. No, I didn't. I really didn't, Abraham. I'm certain that I did not invite that in. And we said, if it's in, you invited it. Because there is no assertion in this universe that's based upon attraction. When you say yes to something, you include something wanted in your vibration. When you say no to something, you include something unwanted in your vibration. You're doing it all. And you can do it better than you have been doing if you understand the power of the law of attraction and if you understand momentum. If you will begin to focus upon the thoughts that feel good in their early stages and stay with them until the momentum is greater, you will benefit by that increase in momentum. If you are aware of something that doesn't feel good when you focus upon it, and as soon as you're aware that it doesn't feel good, you will withdraw your attention from it and put your attention someplace else, the momentum of that will stop. It is our absolute promise to you that it will. But don't wait until you're at the bottom of the hill to try to stop the momentum. Sometimes it's like you say, Abraham, I've fallen out of an airplane and I don't have a parachute on. What do you suggest that I do now? And we say, hang on, it'll be over in a little bit. And that's what we want to say to you about all negative momentum. Do your best to just withdraw your attention from it. It will peter out if you don't keep feeding it. It will stop if you don't keep feeding it, you see. Which means tomorrow morning when you wake up, try to hold yourself in conscious thought about something that feels good for just a little while until you get a little bit of momentum going. That's your best shot at the positive momentum. Really, the easiest way to do it is just to make a decision that when you get up in the morning, you've got a clean slate, because you do. And you know why? Because while you were asleep, your momentum stopped. And when you wake up, you can start it anywhere you want to. Now, we acknowledge that it's likely when you first start this that you're probably going to start your momentum sort of the way it was yesterday, because you've got a memory, and because people around you are responding to you in the way they are, and because you're observing what is, and what is pretty powerful to observe. So we get it, that if what is isn't full of all the things you want, or even more is containing some things you don't want, we get it, how your attention to what is continuing the momentum. But you can change that. You can have a paradigm shift. You can move your vibrational point of attraction, and you can do it easily within 30 days. And every day that you wake up determined to do it will be easier than the day before, until a week or two into waking up and acknowledging, hey, I'm awake, and hey, law of attraction is beginning again, and hey, while I was slumbering, my point of attraction ceased, and hey, I get to choose what I focus upon, what would be a good thing for me to focus upon. Before long, you'll have a handful of things that you always feel good about when you think about them, that you will give your attention to, and before you know it, you will get that momentum going, so that you will be on what we are calling your high-flying disc. Esther said, Abraham, as you're describing these discs, there's this one where love and elation and passion is, and there's that one when despair and fear is, and then there's the ornery disc. Esther said it's a little bit like the 7 dwarves. There's the happy disc, and there's the grumpy disc, and she's identified about 200 dwarfs now. Defensive dwarf and passive-aggressive dwarf. But we want you to not spend too much time trying to identify what to call your disc, and instead we want you to feel your way onto that high-flying disc where you belong. And when you do, when you figure out how to sustain that frequency for a day, and then another, and then another, and then another, and then another, what you're going to begin to notice is that the things that you've been asking for, that are already in a very high frequency in this vibrational reality, because the source within you has been tending to them, when you get your vibration up there and you sustain it, this is the important thing. You chronically hold it. You sustain it. You're consistent in that vibration. Not high-low, not happy-sad, not manic-depressive, not happy when there's something happy to look at, and ornery when there's something ornery to look at, but holding your own vibration because you mean to, and more important, holding it because you've practiced it, and after a little while holding it because it's easy to do. Then what happens is the contents of your vibrational reality begin flowing into your reality. You begin realizing them. Thoughts begin to flow to you. Timing is really, really good. You begin rendezvousing with other people. And the details of your life begin filling in with the flesh, blood, and bone that you want, so that you can hear and see and smell and taste and touch all of these details that you have been wanting.